Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing exceptionally well today. So today I want to talk about gesture drawing, and I watched a couple of videos about gesture drawing to kind of further inform my opinions on it and learn a couple things so that when I go to break down this figure that I have for you here, you can also get a more thorough understanding and learn some things from me and some of the things I learned as well. So the first video I watched was by a gentleman named Micah Hampton, and he summarized gesture drawing as a abstract notation that demonstrates your understanding of the subject. And I think that that is such a perfect summarization of the purpose of gesture drawing. And I want you all to keep that in mind as I demonstrate how I break down this figure and I talk through what I'm doing to do so. So before I jump into the demonstration, I want to introduce the idea of contrapposto, which you may have heard of. It's originated in ancient Greece. The sculptors there came up with the idea, and it's kind of contrapposto means counterpose, and it kind of explains the offset curves that show like livelihood, movement, vitality in the human figure. And they used this concept of contrapposto in their sculptures to demonstrate those same attributes. So without further ado, let's jump into the demonstration. So when I'm doing a figure drawing, I like to start with a big arc to kind of, I usually just give a suggestion of the head. It's usually not to scale that I'll draw the full figure, but then I like to do just kind of a big loose arc that follows the movement of the whole figure. From there, I'll do 2 lines, and these lines represent the shoulders and the top of the pelvic bone. And this kind of helps me to understand the first major offset, the pinch and stretch of the figure. Here for this pose, you can see there's a very clear pinch on the right side of the figure, and it stretches along the left side. So this just gives me a way to quickly understand that and capture it. So from here, I'm going to kind of block in the other forms just using some quick arcs in counterbalance to just really quickly throw in like the general movement. I think that figure drawing is a lot of fun because it kind of challenges how you break down complex forms using the simplest shapes that you can, and often only using lines, not focusing on the contour very much at all. So this is just kind of a very quick cliff notes of the movement here. So now I'm going to go in a bit darker and kind of start choosing which lines I want to concrete in, which lines I want to show in the finished gesture to demonstrate the offset arcs, the offset balance throughout the figure, and so on. So first I'm going to go through here, and I think I want to put in an arc that's demonstrating or suggesting rather this left side of the rib cage. And then to counterbalance that along the hip line, I'm going to put in the outer side of this, the right hip. And you can see there's this, at this point is like the midsection where the folding and pinching is happening. So then I'm going to draw out another line here to kind of really show that pinch, and then stretch this hip down like that. Figure or gesture drawing is fun because it's kind of like for each different pose, you're solving a sort of puzzle. You've got to really break it down and spend the time to understand the movements of it. And I think that's super cool. Like, it's that's why I said that I'm learning too. Doing this demonstration is for each of these poses, like I haven't drawn them before. So I'm also trying to break it down and understand it better. So this is a nice rough gesture. I've captured the movement, the essence of the pose, but I think I can push the dramaticism. I haven't been super truthful to the reference, which I think is okay, especially for gesture drawing. I would recommend you to err more on the side of breaking the anatomical structures to convey the movement and the vitality, the liveliness, the passion more. So yeah, just I implore you to do that if you see the opportunity to do so. And in this second iteration of the same figure, I'm gonna try to push everything a little further and explain it a little better. So again, starting with my head, I'm gonna take this S curve out. I'm not gonna make it as sharp. I'm gonna make it more of a smooth curve, but I'm gonna take it out a little further, either direction, to kind of accentuate the movement there. Okay, so then I'm gonna push my shoulder line up. In the last one, the shoulder line was kind of parallel with the ground. Here, I'm gonna really take it at an extreme diagonal. That's gonna really accentuate this pinch here and this stretch here. From there, I'm gonna take this. Like I said, I want to draw this line in. I think I'm going to stick with that. This left side of the rib cage is a really great line to kind of show a big portion of the form and like the movement with that form. This right hip also. So I'm going to keep those the same. Here I'm going to put in this line can kind of be like the bottom of the shoulder muscle or the collarbone. Doing a mix, using those two lines can really help you quickly define those shapes, the shapes of the shoulder muscle, and give you the direction that it would be facing while using very little lines. That using as few lines as you can to convey as much information as you can introduces the concept of line economy, which is extremely important, especially in something like figure drawing, especially in something like gesture drawing, where you're trying to just capture the cliff notes. It's really key to only use as many lines as you need to do so. So you can see here my arms and legs are usually only comprised of two or three lines. 3 for the arms if I include the hands or if I throw a box in there. It's kind of, I'm going to break the rules that I say also because it's so hard to have rules when it comes to art, especially with something so abstract as gesture drawing. It's better to just kind of feel your way through it, kind of feel the movement, and kind of try to capture the feeling of what's going on more than exactly how it looks. Like, line economy is important, but sometimes, like, see how I'm building up these lines and kind of giving it more weight, more darkness. I would call that like a single line. Like, there's not, I'm not drawing the contour out. I'm not really complexly drawing in the form. Layering lines in a single spot to add weight is like that is a really great way to show the depth and the three-dimensionality of whatever you're drawing. Like here, I put a lot of weight on this upper side of the thigh where you see in like by the knee for the left leg. That kind of shows the viewer that this leg is in the foreground. It's overlapping with the leg in the background. So I like these legs quite a bit. You can see here, this line that I did right here, that is, it's not where the top of the thigh would be and not where the back of the thigh would be. It's not a contour line at all. It's more representative of where the femur would be within the leg. So you can kind of pick and choose whether you're drawing the bone structure or the muscle structure, and using your discernment there to be able to show these offsets. So for this leg, if I were to have drawn the backside of the thigh and then the calf again, that doesn't really convey the offset balance that we have here, because it's a mimic of the same arc. But when I draw the femur, it's able to go this way, and then I can offset with the calf muscle that way. And just look at how much more alive this S curve, this offset feels than when you have two duplicate arcs. So I think I can do a little better. I think I can push it even more and really, really capture the liveliness here. So let's do one more demonstration. So I'm going to keep this pinch and stretch. And I'm gonna do this rib cage line again. I'm really a big fan of that line here. And then coming up, I can't remember if I said it before, but doing these figure drawings it's kind of like a puzzle that you have to solve, and that's what I really like about them. There's so much learning to be had in every pose, and like you could do 5-10 iterations and still not really capture the essence of what you want to capture in the pose, in the feeling of it, the movement of it. And I think that's what makes gesture so amazing. And when you see like a master of gesture, you can see how skilled they are with their line economy, how precise they are with each deliberate stroke. I like to use, I think, especially when you're foreshortening something like this left leg, I really want to use some form lines here. So I'm going to do just a quick sequence of arcs like this, and that shows the direction of the form across, like shows the side plane of the form. Okay, I like the hips here. I think are much more accurate to the reference than they were in the last iteration. I'm going to shrink this down a bit. I have a tendency to kind of go wild with my big arcs and draw things a little bigger than I mean to. So I'm going to stretch this out here like that, this lower leg, so I can kind of get that a little more correct. And I'm just going to suggest the back of the thigh like that, keeping these offset curves with the calf muscle. I really like this one. This one came out good. This kind of demonstrates the movement. We've created an extra sharp pinch here and more of a stretch. Quickly, to wrap this up, I want to show you how like the sequence of offset lines throughout the drawing as a whole. So first, the eye line and the shoulder line is the first sequence, and then the shoulder line to the hip line, and then the hip line to the knee line and to the ankle line. So you can see almost all of them are offset here. The eye line and the shoulder line I made parallel because I wanted to simplify this to a single arc and pinch across all three of these, right? We have a very, very dramatic pinch here and a less dramatic pinch there, but it's pinching and stretching nonetheless. So, excuse me, when you make these lines parallel, be careful which ones you choose to make parallel, because it can make the figure look off balance and really stiff if you make them too close to parallel. Here we see in the leg, the knee to the hip bone, this is an opposite pinch and stretch to the torso and the head, the upper body. And these opposite pinching and stretching, this is the contrapposto that I was talking about before. It's the counterpose. It's the counterbalance of the joints, the skeleton, the muscles to carry the weight of the figure. And trying to dissect those big arcs, those big movements, those pinches and stretches is, I think, at the essence of creating great gestures. Because those are like the clear, they're like the most important points in the pose. And so you can make them more exaggerated to better demonstrate the movement and make it feel more alive. I think it's important to be aware that every drawing is there's always going to be something with each drawing that you're not happy with and you could have improved on or could improve on. And I think that is really important to notice. And when you do notice that, what you should do is set out to draw it again, aspire to make those little changes. You can see it in the sequence of figure drawings that I did. I made a little tweak each time. And never settle, always push yourself to do better in the next drawing, but don't get down when the next drawing doesn't turn out better. That's part of the process. You can't always be moving forward, but you should never stand still. You should never intentionally stop. I think that's kind of the idea of humility, like recognizing that there's always more to learn will help keep you moving forward. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't have pride and confidence in what you're doing in the moment. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something or at least found this video somewhat interesting. And with that, I love you all. Please take care.